Alrighty, y'all. Happy Thursday. Today we are going to be reading Act 2, Scenes 3 and 4 from Romeo and Juliet. Like I explained in the instructions, there are three different ways that you can do this, okay? A, you can read the PDF version that is attached below on or in that folder, okay? That is the real Romeo and Juliet. The second way that you can read it is to head to these websites, which is what I'm actually on right now, and read them for yourself, or have Snap and read it to you, which we installed way early on last semester. And then the third way that you can do it is to hear me read it. So I'm on SparkNotes right now, and I am going to read the adapted version of scenes 3 and 4 to you. I'm not going to be pausing a ton because there's a short reading quiz at the end. This way, I will probably explain a little bit more than usual, but go ahead and just listen. There's no play pause it with this. There's nothing else besides that reading quiz at the end of the day today. Okay, so let's start. So at the end of Act 2, Scene 2, it was the famous balcony scene, right? So Romeo and Juliet are now ready to get married, all right? And he is going to his priest, who is Friar Lawrence, okay? Friar Lawrence is his priest. And he enters, and he is about to give a huge monologue, okay? This thing that you see on the left, that's the original text. So that's what's actually in that document that I've been reading day after day. But this is the modern adaptation, okay? Some of it you still might not understand, and that's totally okay, right? But it is a more modern version of the story itself, okay? So Friar Lawrence, who is Romeo's priest, comes on stage and says, "The smiling morning is replacing the frowning night. Darkness is stumbling out of the sun's path like a drunk man. Now, before the sun comes up and burns away the dew, I have to fill this basket of mine with poisonous weeds and medicinal flowers. The earth is nature's mother and also nature's tomb. Plants are born out of the earth, and they are buried in the earth when they die. From the earth's womb, many different sorts of plants and animals come forth, and the earth provides her children with many excellent forms of nourishment. Everything nature creates has some special property, and each one is different. Herbs, plants, and stones possess great power. There is nothing on earth that is so evil that does not provide the earth with some special quality. And there is nothing that does not turn bad if it's put to the wrong use and abused. Virtue turns to vice if it's misused. Vice sometimes becomes virtue through the right activity." And Romeo comes in and he says, "Inside the little rind of this weak flower, there is both poison and powerful medicine. If you smell it, you feel good all over your body. But if you taste it, you die. There are two opposite elements in everything, in men as well as herbs, good and evil." So he's basically just saying, like, these flowers represent um, real life, right? That there's good and evil in everything. When evil is dominant, death soon kills the body, like cancer. Good morning, Father. So when he says father, he doesn't actually mean his dad, right? He means father as in a priest, okay? And he says, "God bless you. Who greets me so early in the morning? Young man, something's wrong if you're getting out of bed this early. Every old man has worries, and worried men never get any sleep. But young men shouldn't have a care in the world. They should get to bed early and have plenty of sleep. Therefore, the fact that you're awake this early tells me that you've been upset with some anxiety. If that's not the case, then this must be the answer. You, Romeo, have not been to bed tonight." And Romeo says, "Your last guess is right. I enjoyed a sweeter rest than sleep." "My God, forgive if you've sinned. Were you with Rosaline?" "With Rosaline, father? No, no, I have forgotten that girl, and all the sadness she brought me." "That's good, my boy. But where have you been?" "I'll tell you before you have to ask me again. I have been feasting with my enemy. Suddenly, someone wounded me with love, and was wounded with love by me. You have the sacred power to cure both of us. I carry no hatred, holy man, because my request will benefit my enemy. Speak plainly. Make your meaning clear, my son. A jumbled confession can only receive a jumbled absolution. I love rich Capulet's daughter. And I love her, and she loves me. We're bound to each other in every possible way, except we need you to marry us. I'll tell you more later about when and where we met, how we fell in love, and how we exchanged promises. But now I'm begging you, please, agree to marry us today. Holy Saint Francis, this is a drastic change. Have you given up so quickly on Rosaline, whom you love so much? The young men love with their eyes, not with their hearts. Isn't that true? Jesus and Mary, how many tears did you cry for Rosaline? How many salty teardrops did you waste salting a love you never tasted? The sun hasn't yet melted away the fog you made with all your sighs. The groans you used to make are still ringing in my old ears. There's still a stain on your cheek from an old tear that hasn't even washed off yet. If you were ever yourself, and this sadness was yours, and you and your sadness were all for Rosaline, and now you've changed, then repeat this after me. You can't expect women to be faithful when men are so unreliable. You scolded me often for loving Rosaline. I scolded you for obsessing about her, not for loving her, my student. And you told me to bury my love. I didn't tell you to get rid of one love and replace her with another. Please, I beg you, don't scold me. The girl I love now returns my love. The other girl did not love me. Oh, she knew very well that you were acting like you were in love, but really knowing what love means. But come on, inconsistent young man, come with me. I'll help you with your secret wedding. This marriage may be lucky enough to return the hatred between your families into pure love. Let's get out of here. I'm in a rush. Go wisely and slowly. Those who rush stumble and fall. That line's really important, and that is a line that you're going to need later for your quiz, okay? Go wisely and slowly. Those who rush stumble and fall. So Friar Lawrence was basically scolding Romeo, right? Saying, you just fell out of love with this one girl, and now you're already in love with this other girl? What the heck? What's going on? Be careful about how quickly you're going into this, okay? So that's the end of Act 2, Scene 3. So we're going to move on to Act 2, Scene 4. In Act 2, Scene 4 involves Benvolio, Mercutio, Romeo, and the nurse, okay? And Benvolio and Mercutio, this is really when it comes out that they are there for comedic relief, okay? Because they're going to make jokes, even sexual jokes, like throughout this entire scene, based on because when they last saw Romeo, they escaped him, right? Or he escaped them and was going to meet Juliet, right? And so they're like, oh, like he got with a girl last night. So let's go ahead and read what happens. Okay, so Act 2, Scene 4. Where the devil can Romeo be? Didn't he come home last night? Not to his father's house. I asked a servant. That's fair-skinned, hard-hearted hussy. Rosaline is going to torment him until he goes insane. Tybalt, old Capulet's nephew, has sent a letter to Romeo's father's house. I bet it's a challenge. Romeo will never answer, or will answer the challenge. Any man who knows how to write can answer a letter. No, Romeo will respond to the letter's writer, telling him whether he accepts the challenge. Oh, poor Romeo, he's already dead. He's been stabbed by a white girl's black eye. He's been cut through the ear with a love song. The center of his heart has been split by blind Cupid's arrow. Is he man enough at this point to face off with Tybalt? So Tybalt wants to fight him, right? And Tybalt is the Capulet, like, powerhouse man, okay? And Romeo is just a young boy, so he probably wouldn't be able to fight them much at all. And Benvolio says, why? What's Tybalt's story? So Mercutio is going to talk all about who Tybalt is now. He's tougher than the Prince of Cats. He does everything by the book. He fights like you sing at a recital, paying attention to time, distance, and proportion. He takes the proper breaks, 1, 2, and the third in your heart. He's the butcher who can hit any silk button, a master of duels. He's a gentleman from the finest school of fencing. He knows how to turn any argument into a sword fight. He knows passado, the forward thrust, and the punto reverso, the backhand thrust, and the high, the thrust that goes straight through. He knows what? I hate these crazy affected guys who use foreign phrases and newfangled expressions. I hate their strange manners and their weird accents. I hate it when they say, "By Jesus, this is a very good blade, a very brave man, a very good whore." Isn't this a sad thing, my man? Why should we put up with these foreign buzzards, these fashion mongers, these guys who say, "Pardon me," these guys who care so much about manners that they can't kick back on a bench without whining? Oh, my aching bones. So Mercutio is making fun of Tybalt there, right? Saying like, I hate guys like him who are fashion forward, who have a lot of money, who are very standoffish, right? And so then Romeo comes. Romeo comes from just meeting Friar Lawrence, all right? And Benvolio says, "Here comes Romeo, here comes Romeo." And Mercutio says, "He looks skinny, like a dried herring without his eggs, like he hasn't got his girl. Oh, flesh, flesh, you've turned pale and weak like a fish." Now he's ready for Petrarch's poetry. Compared to Romeo's girl, Laura was a kitchen slave. Surely she has a better love to make rhymes for her. Dido was shabbily dressed. Cleopatra was a gypsy girl. Helen and Hero were sluts and harlots. Thisbe might have had a blue eye or two, but that doesn't matter. Signor Romeo, bonjour. There's a French greeting that matches your drooping French-style pants. You faked us out pretty good last night. And Romeo says, "Good morning to you both. What do you mean I faked you out? You gave us the slip, sir, the slip. Can't you understand what I'm saying?" "Excuse me, good Mercutio. I had very important business to take care of. It was so important that I had to forget about courtesy and good manners. In other words, important business made you flex your buttocks." You can figure out what that means. "You mean do a curtsy? You've hit the target, sir. That's a very polite and courteous explanation. Yes, I am the pink flower, the master of courtesy and manners. The pink flower. Right. Well, then my pump is decorated with flowers." "All right, my witty friend, this joke has worn out your pump. Its thin skin is all worn out. The joke is all you have left. This is a bad joke. It's all silliness. Come break this up, Benvolio. I'm losing this duel of wits. Keep going, or I'll declare myself the winner. Now, if our jokes go on a wild goose chase, I'm finished. You have more wild goose in one of your jokes than I have in 5 of mine. Was I even close to you in the chase for the goose? You were never with me for anything if you weren't there for the goose." So he's saying that he's only good for jokes. What they just did is they just made a ton of sexual jokes back and forth to see who could have the best joke. Okay? And Mercutio says, "I'll bite you on the ear for that joke." "No, good goose, don't bite me. Your joke is a very bitter apple. Your humor is a spicy sauce. Then isn't it just the right dish for a sweet goose? Oh, that's a joke made out of leather that spreads itself thin from a width of an inch to as fat as a yard." I stretch my joke for that word fat. If you add to that word goose, it shows that you are a fat goose. Why, isn't all this joking better than groaning about love? Now you're sociable. Now you're Romeo. Now you are what you've learned to be and what you are naturally. This love of yours was like a blithering idiot who runs up and down looking for a hole to hide his toy in. Stop there, stop there. You want me to stop my tale before I'm done? Otherwise, your tale would have gotten too long. Oh, you're wrong. I would have made it short. I had come to the deepest part of my tale, and I plan to say nothing more on the topic. So boom, jokes are over, and the nurse comes in with her servant, okay? So the nurse enters the stage. Remember, the nurse is Juliet's basically caretaker, okay? And the nurse comes in, and Romeo says, "Here's something good. A sail, a sail. There's two, a man and a woman. Peter, I'm at your service. Get me my fan, Peter." "Good, Peter. Give her her fan to hide her face. Her fan is prettier than her face. Good morning, gentlemen. Good afternoon, fair lady. Is it now afternoon? It's not earlier than that, I tell you. The lusty hand of the clock is now pricking noon. Get out of here. What kind of man are you?" "I'm a man, my lady, that God has made for himself to ruin." "I swear you speak the truth. For himself to ruin," he says. "Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I can find young Romeo?" "I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you find him than he was when you started looking for him. I am the youngest man by that name, because there is no one younger or worse." "You speak well." "Is the worst well? Well, or very well taken, I believe, very wise. If you're the Romeo I'm looking for, sir, I would like to have a confidence with you. By confidence, she means conference. Okay, so what we learn now is that the nurse is not very good at speaking. She's grown up pretty poor, and she doesn't have the best language. And so she says, "I'd like to have a confidence with you." She will indict him to some dinner party. A pimp, a pimp, a pimp! I found out. What have you found out? She's not a prostitute unless she's using her ugliness to hide her promiscuity. So Mercutio thinks that the nurse is a prostitute. Old rabbit meat is good to eat if you can't get anything else, but if it's so old that it goes bad before you eat it, then it was a waste of money. Romeo, are you going to your father's for lunch? Let's go there. I'll follow after you. Goodbye, old lady. Goodbye, lady, lady, lady. So Benvolio and Mercutio leave, and now it's just Romeo and the nurse. Please, sir, tell me who was that foul-mouthed punk who is so full of crude jokes. Nurse, he's a man who likes to hear the sound of his own voice. He says more in 1 minute than he does in a whole month. If he says anything against me, I'll humble him, even if he were stronger than he is. And 20 punks like him, if I can't do it myself, I'll find someone who can. That dirty rat. I'm not one of his sluts. I'm not one of his punk friends who carries a knife. And you just stand there, letting every jerk make fun of me for kicks? I didn't see anyone use you for kicks. If I had seen something like that, I would have quickly pulled out my weapon. Believe me, I'll draw my sword as quick as any other man if I see a fight starting and the law is on my side. I swear, I'm so angry that I'm shaking all over. That rotten scoundrel. Now please, may I have a word with you, sir? My young mistress asked me to find you. What she asked me to say I'll keep to myself. But let me tell you this first. If you lead her into a fool's paradise, as the saying goes, it would be an outrageous crime, because the girl is so young. And if you try and trick her, it would be an evil thing to do any woman, and very poor behavior. Nurse, give my regards to your lady. I swear to you. You have a good heart, and believe me, I'll tell her that. Lord, Lord, she'll be a happy woman. What are you going to tell her, nurse? You're not paying attention to me. Sir, I'll tell you that you protest to her, which actually means propose, which I think is a gentlemanly thing to do. Tell her to devise a plan to get out of her house and come to confession at the Abbey this afternoon. At Friar Lawrence's cell, she can make the confession and be married. Here's a reward for your efforts. No, really, I won't take a penny. Go on, I insist you take it. This afternoon, sir, she'll be there. Wait, good nurse, within an hour, one of my men will come to you behind the Abbey wall and give you a rope ladder. I'll use the rope ladder to climb over the walls at night. Then I'll meet Juliet joyfully in secret. Goodbye. Be honest and be helpful, and I'll repay you for your efforts. Goodbye. Sing my praises to your mistress. May God in heaven bless you. Now please listen, sir. What do you have to say, my dear nurse? Can your man keep a secret? Haven't you heard the saying, two can conspire and to put one away? I assure you, my man is as true as steel. Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when she was a little baby, oh, there's one nobleman in a city, a guy named Paris, who would be happy to claim her as his own. Juliet would rather look at a toad than look at him. I make her angry sometimes by saying that Paris is more handsome than you are, but when I say so, I swear she turns as white as a sheet. Don't Rosemary and Romeo begin with the same letter? Yes, sir, or yes, nurse. What about that? They both begin with the letter R. Ah, you jokester. The dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with another letter. She says the most beautiful things about you and Rosemary. It would be good for you to hear the things that she says. Give my compliments to your lady. 1,000 times, Peter. I'm ready. Giving Peter her fan. Go ahead. Go quickly. And they all exit. Okay? So that is Act 2, Scene 3 and 4. Go ahead and take the quiz at the end. Just do your best, okay? There's 2 multiple choice questions. There's 2 free response questions. Just do your best, all right? If you have any questions, go ahead and email myself or Miss Kuthi. Good luck, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.